So not only did they engineer the fraud, but they got refinanced out in total, and the fraud was a huge success. That's why I call it a financial coup d'etat. And the reality is, from their point of view, it was simply a takeover. And it was a successful financial coup d'etat. And there's literally been no indictments or no prosecution, and the message is clear. It was a fundamental re-engineering as opposed to incompetence or what they think of as criminal behavior.
Yeah, this has all been methodically set up and prepared. Goldman Sachs and others got their regulators in over Ireland, the U.S., places like New Zealand, everywhere. They ran the same scam, and now they openly admit, yes, we're going to slowly kill the dollar. Yes, we're going to have the SDR as the new currency. Yes, you're going to pay carbon taxes and all of this to private banks. So the Ponzi scheme operators are now openly setting up world government run by them, holding our countries hostage to the derivatives debt that we don't owe, that they've created. And Bernie Madoff from prison comes out and says the banks had to know on Monday what he was doing. And of course they knew. He was just a mid-level player. So let's go through the global government, what it looks like, who the players are, and then what's happening currently as they bring in the austerity and lie to people and say, cut the paychecks, get rid of the teachers, raise the taxes, steal more of the pension funds, and that'll fix the debt, when they never even address the 1.5 quadrillion so that we could pay all of our money in taxes, get rid of all of the services, and still it wouldn't even put a dent in the 1.5 quadrillion. So they're scapegoating Wisconsins and the Irish and others right now.
Well, but let's break it down, because if you look at how much money's been siphoned off, when they say there's no money, question number one is, well, where did the trillions that have disappeared, including illegally, go to? So question number one, when you say that there's no money, well, it's like saying there's no milk in the milk bucket when there's a hole in the bottom. Where's it been running out to? So the money went somewhere, and that's question mark number one. But question mark number two is, we've known for 50 years that we were running the United States population on an unsustainable basis. Now, during that 50 years, we've produced trillions of dollars of retirement savings, and that's part of the money that sort of disappeared down the hole. But the reality is, everybody in America has known that this is not a sustainable system. We've all avoided it. It's not just the elites, but we've avoided it too. One of the reasons the politics have worked the way they've worked, Alex, is because we've said, give us more money, we don't want to change. And every year we've been able to do that in the governmental mechanism.
Well, that's like a bass biting down on a purple worm. I mean, we're certainly the ignorant fish that's biting into the hook, but I'm talking about where that hook...
We're not ignorant, Alex. I mean, the way you get power over, to solve a problem, you need power. The way you get power is you take responsibility.
I agree.
And the reality is, let's look at the money. Whatever the American government is doing, every one of us is financing it by paying our taxes. Okay?
Yes.
Every one of it is financing it by putting money in pension funds and not having a position on where it goes. Every one of us is donating money, including tithing to churches who are supporting and going along with all of this. Every one of us is shopping or banking at the banks and the stores that are doing that. Okay? If you look at how our money works, household by household, county by county, we have the power to say, you know something, we're not going to finance this anymore. If you, my church, wants, my tithe every month, then you've got to change, what you're doing and how you're doing it. I'm not just going to pay taxes to a government that's running drugs. I'm going to go get a lawyer, and we're going to battle this out in court, or we're going to organize locally and do a local escrow over tax money, as long as you're running the government on an illegal basis and trillions are going out the back door. So, in other words, we're all participating in this, and we're all complicit in it, and it's by seeing that we see the opportunities to start to really make serious change.
Well, Catherine, I agree with you that we need to look in the mirror if we want to see the main culprit, but at the same time, I'm talking about the brains that are actually implementing the scam. I mean, what you're talking about is what black folks for 50 years have talked about, that if they just spent their money in their neighborhoods, they would become wealthy, but they never do that. So I understand they are part to blame. I am part to blame. But I'm also talking about the overall economic system that designs it where it's so easy to be defrauded, and it's so easy for the general public to be ignorant. I mean, you know what's happening, I know what's happening, but still the general public doesn't. They're starting to wake up. Let's come back and break it all down with Catherine Austin Fitts. Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com.
They helped to create a new world order.
We are part of a new world order.
A new world order based upon collective action.
Invisible Empire is a damning indictment of the globalists through their own words and documents.
The New World Order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
It means all the world under their control.
The United Nations would take over America. The Trilateral Commission would control the world.
Invisible Empire chronicles how men of power and influence have worked in stealth for centuries to establish an oppressive world government.
I believe, first of all, that we now need nothing short of a world constitution for the global financial system.
Global governance with the establishment of the G20.
So it's going to be an inner ruling elite and then everyone else. And I got news for you. You're everyone else.
Invisible Empire. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, or watch it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
I'm Roger Rao at Midas Resources. If you are going through a financial roller coaster because of your investment in stocks, bonds, and other paper assets, perhaps you're ready for a change. You have an opportunity to change your financial security. Get the stability and peace of mind you deserve by investing in precious metals. Gold and silver have been a form of wealth protection for over 5,000 years all over the world. If you have seen your hard-earned money lose value because of inflation, sliding dollar, etc., it's time you stop the bleeding. The answer to your problems is simple. Gold and silver will protect your assets and your purchasing power, physical possession of precious metals, IRA rollover, etc. Call me, Roger Rao, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 178. Take action today when we are still accepting paper dollars for gold and silver. Ready for a change? Call Roger Rao at 1-800-686-2237, extension 178. Again, it's 1-800-686-2237, extension 178.
Is it really possible to get out of debt without payment plans or attorneys? 18 years ago, we developed a program that has made thousands debt-free in just 90 days. It's called Zero Debt in 90 Days, and it works for all credit card debt, medical bills, even collection lawsuits.
When I first joined, I was being sued. So I used the program methods, and after filing one piece of paper, the collection lawsuit was dismissed.
With Zero Debt in 90 days, your success is guaranteed in writing. There is no other program of its kind. Don't be alone when creditors gang up on you. Let our team of experts provide the resources to fight back and stop creditors in only 90 days, guaranteed. Prevent wage garnishments, bank levies, and stop collection calls with our proven program. Call Zero Debt in 90 days now, 800-477-9256, and ask for free information from an expert who also completed our program. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com.
Catherine Austin Fitts is our guest, financial expert extraordinaire. Catherine, I mean, we know what they're doing. We know what the problem is, but summing it up, what is the end game of these people if we don't stop them? I mean, it's just unlimited the amount of theft they're engaging in, their destruction of the economy by design, and they offer the solution being given them more power, then things get worse, and the solution is give them more power. You talked about government drug dealing. I mean, it's in Bloomberg. It's in Bloomberg that $367 billion in one major U.S. bank alone of drug money, and it turns out they're running the aircraft.
Right. I think it's pretty simple. You have a small group of people who have been in control of governance on planet Earth, and they're looking at the growth of population, and they're saying we need a plan to be in environmental harmony, and we need a way to integrate new technology, because the growth, the new technology and discoveries in technology are accelerating that make it much harder to stay in control. And so I think what they're saying is we need a much smaller population, a population that can be will be much easier to control, and will leave us in control, but also will bring the planet back into environmental harmony, because living in the current lifestyle on the planet we're doing is, it's just not environmentally in harmony the way it's being done now. So the question for them is, how do we get to environmental harmony and stay in control and be able to integrate new technology without losing control? And the reality is they want a much greater centralization, and they want a much smaller population. And I think all the different things we're watching are not, we have to be careful not to compare what's happening to the official myth of what's supposed to be happening. And we have to step back and look at what's happening and saying, okay, well, this is really happening. It's a little bit like, you remember that line in Rosemary's Baby when she's being raped by the demonic figure, and she says, oh, this is really happening. Well, step one is we have to get out of denial and say this is really happening. Things are very different. We have an official story of what's supposed to be happening. We need to let go of that and start looking what's really going on. And the reality is we literally have a group of people, Alex, who have now gotten a hold of much more advanced technology, not only that it is adopted generally, but is beyond what we know exists. And they literally have become, and this is Richard Dolan's expression, a breakaway civilization. They no longer consider themselves of the same species as us, and they no longer consider themselves subject to the same laws and rules that we're subject to.
And by the way, the globalists all write books and make statements about this. I cover it in my film Endgame. They believe we're animals. It's social Darwinism, and it's their right to dumb us down, get us in control grids, and then kill us. And then I'm here warning the general public. A lot of them are listening. Others make jokes. And the globalists say, see, they want us to kill them. They deserve it.
Well, there's no doubt there's a cycle of disrespect between the general population and the people who are governing. And one of the reasons that there is, Alex, is because, and I speak as somebody who, at a very minor, lower level, has been part of that group. When you try and govern, when you try and build a consensus for turning an aircraft carrier and turning it in time, it is such a frustrating experience that at some point you give up. You give up trying to have an intelligent conversation with the general population, and you just decide to manipulate. And you decide to manipulate because you've got to turn the aircraft carrier in time. And essentially what you learn is eventually, the crowd will always do what makes the crowd the most money. There was a really brilliant comment in an interview that Julian Assange did with Time magazine about a month or two ago, in which he said, political change in America doesn't result in change, and that's because America's been fiscalized. And what he meant by that is if you drill down and look at every household in America and where their income comes from, and every county level, sort of municipal infrastructure, and where their income comes from, up to the state, the federal government is the primary source of income at this point. I mean, we're much more socialized financially than the Soviet Union was before it fell, and literally the dependency on the federal till is so enormous that even when you get political change, you don't get change because everybody's on the dole. And that's why I keep coming back to the money and dealing with the money, because unless we shift